طيب, if there are any questions, we'll try to take them now. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Inshallah, this Thursday, the 24th, 9:30 p.m. Between 9:30 and 10, we will begin our monthly lecture on Pray as You Have Seen Me Praying, Part 2. So make sure you join, inshallah ta'ala. Those who signed up for Part 1, make sure you come back for Part 2. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. I said 9:30 p.m. You can sign up for that lecture and that class, HadithDiscipleshop.com. Jazakumullahu khairan. If there are any questions, we'll try to take them now. And if not, we'll stop. Jazakumullahu khairan. Ibn Victor, alaikum salam, rahmatullah, barakallahu fikum. Kif halkum? Hopefully your sword is sharp. Mahmoudi, hayakallah. Caliph Basha, alaikum salam, barakallahu fikum. Kif halkum? Ya ahbab, beloved brothers. Just the student, please put your name first and last, or initials first and last, city and state, and we'll try our best to answer your question, inshallah. MB from Marietta, Georgia. Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, how do we differentiate when a hadith narrated by a companion was addressing that companion specifically and the general masses? You differentiate with regards to learning the sciences, learning usul al-fiqh, reading the explanation of the hadiths, fiqh of the hadiths, by being a student of knowledge. So oftentimes as a 9-to-5 layman Muslim, you're not going to have the ability to do that. Scholars differ over those issues, let alone a 9-to-5 Muslim. And as we have stated before, if you want knowledge, you want access to the the treasure trove, the treasure chest, you gotta work hard to get those keys. It's that simple. LS from New York. Next question. Initials TA from Bronx, New York. How to be just with dealing with scholars of the past. For instance, in my region, there was a scholar who did good work to forbid common bid'ahs and encourage sunnah, but he also may have made mistakes regarding cooperation with different groups and things. Make dua for any deceased Muslim, let alone a deceased scholar. And it's very important for us to get rid of the fallacy that a scholar who made a mistake isn't a scholar, or scholars are perfect. Every single human being will fall into some type of error. Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala said, everyone will refute or be refuted, except for the Prophet of Islam sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the way of the Salaf. As far as the nonsense today, you can't take nothing from him because he said this, because he made this mistake. That is not the way of the Salaf as-Salih. It's not the way of the Imam of the ulama of hadith. That's rubbish. Beware of that nonsense. And let alone the fact that many people say, oh, cooperation, these are issues of ijtihad. There is no ijma'. There's no consensus. There's no clear-cut text from Kitab and Sunnah stating that in 2022, you can or cannot or have to, or you go here or do this lecture or work with these people. Those are all masail of ijtihad, in which a person may say potato and a person may say potato. You may go right, you may go left. That's issue of ijtihad. It isn't something which is hardcore. All right? Giving someone dawah, someone that is astray, someone that has problems, working with them, cooperating with them, they're still Muslims, etc., etc., etc. Working and cooperating with kuffar, seeking the help of kuffar. These are issues in Islam. So beware of ignorance and beware of ignorant people propagating things. Make dua for the deceased scholar, bottom line, and ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make you someone who benefits from knowledge. Wallahu alam. أحبك الذي أحببتني فيه كالف باشا جزاك الله خيرا. AH from Queens, New York. What does one do when they have waswas to the point they think about it all the time? You need counseling. Inshallah, reach out to us. We provide specific counseling for waswas and waswas treatment. LS from New York, city and state. Jazakallah khairan. Nuruddin Al-Khalawi. May Allah rectify the situation of the Muslims worldwide. Ameen. May Allah bless all the nobles in the sacred city. AH, Queens, New York. Is that the ruqyah for physical illness that weren't? Is it there ruqyah for physical illness that weren't caused by ayn? Ruqyah can be a cure for anything. JW from Washington, D.C. Sometimes I wipe excess atar oil from my hands onto different Islamic books, including the Quran. Is this okay? Perfuming a book. You have excess oil. You want the book to smell good instead of wasting it. Khairan. Just don't turn it into a ritual. Don't make it into an ibadah. Don't think there's sunnah or as a reward in doing so specifically. But I have lotion or I have some excess oil and instead of wiping it off, I'll put it on a book or that's fine. Khairan. Islam shuns and abhors wasting. Wallahu alam. K.A. Manchester, UK. Jazakallah khairan. What if I want to ask a sheikh a question about how to reconcile between two hadiths or shubha with the intention of learning? Is this better done in private? It depends. If it's going to cause fitna for other people, ask in private. But if it's a general benefit, you ask in public. Wallahu ta'ala alam. AH, Queens, New York. Is it allowed for a woman to ask for a man in marriage with haya? There's nothing wrong with that. It isn't prohibited. We've explained that before. A woman is allowed to ask a man's hand in marriage. That's nothing wrong with that. AM from Phoenix, Arizona. Potentially haram Islamic home loan versus government subsidized housing. Which is worse if these are the only two options? Well, if they're equal in riba and you're forced to do it for argument's sake, is a need or a necessity for you to have this type of home, you have no other option. If you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, then choose the easiest of the two. And many times people complain about these Islamic banks or these Islamic financial situations or institutions, and they say it's the same as the riba, rather it's more confusing, more ambiguous, longer, charge you more, etc. So if I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, once again, I'm not saying this mortgage is halal, this mortgage is haram. We're speaking about the question. If, hypothetically, you're stuck in a rock and a hard place, take the easy way out. So if the Islamic banks are more difficult, you deal with the traditional banks. May Allah protect you. Ameen. Questions come from LS, moving forward, SHDC. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Do you have a kitab I can use to memorize short ahadith, Arabic, English? Barakallahu fikum. Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Yes, there are. There are traditional books such as Bulugh al-Maram, Umdat al-Ahkam, which the hadiths are in most cases summarized. They're not too long, Shams. And there are also modern day hadiths, which are hadith for hifd. Miyat hadith lil hifd they have. Inshallah ta'ala, I can share some of them with you. Bidnai ta'ala. AS from Vancouver, Canada. What is your opinion about touching the mushaf without wudu and eating with the left hand, especially the one who is left-handed? As far as touching the mushaf without the wudu or without wudu, I don't feel that that's haram. It's best to give the book of Allah the greatest amount of respect, period. You should not touch it, the mushaf, or read the Quran unless you have for tahara. That's the best thing to do. That's the safest thing to do. Is it haram to touch it? I wouldn't say that. Is it haram for junub to recite the Quran? I don't hold that opinion. As far as eating with the left hand, then I believe it's haram to eat with the left hand, and that you must eat with the right hand. And that if you're a southpaw, if you're left-handed, you fight yourself and you ask Allah to make it easy for you. If it becomes too much, if you forget, whatever, there's no sin upon you. But eating with the right hand is obligatory, and eating with the left hand is haram, not makruh. Those are my opinions. Wallahu alam. AG from Edinburgh, Scotland. How should a student of knowledge respond to friends who would like to spend excessive time hanging out? What is the Shari'i stance on rejecting invitations? Explain to them. Give them advice. Ad-din wa-nasiha. Look, guys, you guys are my friends. We all cool. But, let's eat, let's do this, and let's also go to the masjid. Or let's read some Quran together. Or let's watch something beneficial together. And if they refuse, you tell them, look, man, it's nothing personal, but I'll catch you guys on the next one. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Wallahu alam. MM from the Netherlands. Assalamu alaikum. Ustad. During the time of Aqd Nikah, a sister's father was believed to be her wali. As he had converted to Islam, there were some doubts surrounding his faith, but this was not proven or sorted out. During that time, the sheikh refused to do the Aqd without his permission. He did not give permission because her ex-husband abused her, and the father thought he was not of good character. Then the ex-husband, the sheikh, said that he refused without good reason, and the sheikh became the wali. No one, That's a problem. Is that marriage valid? You need a specific counseling session. You need a specific counseling session, and all parties need to be heard from. In general, the brief answer is that if the father's the wali, then the father's the wali. Until proven otherwise. Not with a doubt, maybe, is he a Muslim? Oh, it's not a good reason. La. It isn't something that's done haphazardly. It's not to be done haphazardly. Wallahu alam. K.A. from Manchester, UK. Barakallahu fikum, Sheikh. Could you please direct me where I can learn more about the ins and outs of free mixing in detail on your channel? Jazakallahu khairan. Fikum barakallah. I don't know if we have a specific lecture that we've done on that in detail. We've answered the question and spoke on it many times. Maybe that's a lecture that we need to do, or a workshop I'm speak on in detail. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Alex from Bronx, New York. Is it possible for a person to be cursed in this life, like every day, every dua they make, the complete opposite happens? Only Allah knows these affairs. Only Allah knows. And dua is something that we do as an ibadah. We don't know the unseen. So you make dua for forgiveness, for guidance, for tawbah, for sustenance. You don't know if you're cursed. You may think that you're cursed. It doesn't mean that. Just because something the opposite happens, we don't know. If you've made sin, if you've done something to incur Allah's curse, make tawbah. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Alice from the Bronx. Any tips on excessive daydreaming and anxious thoughts? Get counseling on the West. Nuruddin Al-Camerooni, Birmingham, UK. What are some of the reasons that which allows a mufti not to answer questions? Jazakallahu khairan. We're going to stop here tonight, guys. May Allah protect us from being from among Ahlul Bid'ah wal Ahwa, the people of desires. We ask Allah for His guidance. Jazakallahu khairan. Don't forget about Thursday at 9:30 p.m. From HadithDisciple.com. Pray as you've seen me praying, part 2. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.